Hey everyone, my name is Ashley Henson and I'm the 50th Sheriff of Paulding County. You're about to listen to 10-8 Paulding, which is the official podcast of the Paulding County Sheriff's Office. So you may be wondering, what does 10-8 mean? Well, it's a 10 code, and it means that we're going in service. So every time our deputies go in service, they'll say 10-8 Paulding. So welcome to 10-8 Paulding, and we hope you enjoy our podcast.
Well, hey everybody, thanks for joining us for 10-8 Paulding. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jordan Yuodis. I'm the Chief Communications Officer at the Paulding County Sheriff's Office, and I'm joined today by the one, the only, Captain Mike Hill.
Hey Jordan, thanks for having me.
Welcome. You're not a man of few words, so don't act shy now because I just saw that little look in your eye. So today we're going to talk about the new, or sort of new, fully developed cold case unit, and some of the things that y'all are working on and why that's so important. And that's one of the things, obviously, that Sheriff Henson said repeatedly in his campaign, that we were going to beef up this unit and work on getting some of these cold cases solved. So kind of tell me and the viewers that are going to see this, kind of what that looks like and how that kind of plays out day to day, and kind of what your all's overall mission is.
Sure, Jordan. Thanks for having me today. So, first of all, I'm honored to be a part of this. Sheriff Henson had brought about his vision of creating a cold case unit to focus solely on the attention of those unsolved cases. And so he did come to me and he expressed what he would like to see, and he asked me to be a part of it, to which I'm quite honored to be a part of. So the focus is so that we can bring in some guys who are in their second careers, they have experience, and they have the ability to dedicate their time exclusively on these particular cold case that we need to.
So this is not really something that you want the kind of the newer deputy or newer investigator kind of really indulging into. I mean, this takes years of knowledge and experience interviewing people and assessing crime scenes that don't really exist anymore.
Right. These investigators that we have brought in, they're forged kind of like iron. They're seasoned. They have past experiences, decades of past experiences that will give them knowledge and insight to look for those particular avenues that we can take with these cases to try to find resolution in each and every one of them.
And it's probably good bringing in some outsiders' perspectives who may or may not have been here during the times when those cases occurred, and then having somebody like yourself that has been here for a lot of them over the course of your career.
Yes, that's true, and it's key to bring in someone with a fresh set of eyes who's unbiased, that doesn't have those preconceived notions, to take a look at those cases and to apply the skills that they've acquired over the past few decades.
Is there an exact number on how many cold cases that we have, or is there a particular amount that you all are looking at?
We have 5 unsolved cold case homicides in the county at this point in time, and we have assigned 3 of them to each of the cold case investigators or case analysts that have come in. So 3 of the 5 are being actively looked at right now.
So those 5, can we kind of in about a 2-minute sample kind of touch base on what each 5 of those are?
Sure. We have a young man from the early 80s who was found deceased in his home, obviously by the hands of another. It was clear-cut homicide that GBI came in with Sheriff Forsyth at the time. He looked into the case, and along with the now retired director, Vernon Keenan, they looked into the case. It was not solved at that point in time. It still remains unsolved to this day. We do have a file. We're going to be looking at it in time, but what we wanted to do is apply the cold case investigators to the newest cold cases, if you will, so that those cases that have the most meat left on them, if you will, as a metaphor, that they could look at the solvability of those cases to apply their expertise. So the other cold case homicide that we have is from the late 80s. A young lady who was found deceased in her home. She had been killed by numerous stab wounds. That case is still active today. I myself have investigated that case at length over the past decade, and there are some leads. Because the case is still active, I would want to withhold the intimate facts of the case, but there has been progress made in the case, and so we hope with technology that if the technology improves, that one day we will soon be able to crack that case as well.
And I think before you go to the third one, it's important to note for the people that are watching this, how much has changed since the 80s versus where we are today. Technology, the way crimes are investigated, just the technology in itself is...
Yes, and some of those things are illustrated on some of the documentaries like The Golden State Killer, where they talk about how in the 70s and 80s DNA was unheard of.
Right.
Now, that technology, along with the electronics technology, all technology improves on a daily basis nowadays. And as a team member on cold cases, I'm thankful for that, because my hope and prayer is that the technology will improve to the point that some of the cases that may have degraded DNA specimens or whatever, that new technology can improve to a level where those cases can be cracked.
And as we go on into case number 3, talking about the year, whatever this one is.
Yes, that is a 2005 homicide that we're still actively working, and one of our cold case team members, he has the file now, and he is midstream in review of this case. So they will be doing a systematic review where they look at the file as a whole. They're going to look at everything such as photographs, interviews, all of those things, and they're going to be creating a punch list, if you will, of things that need to be done in the case to further the case.
So out of all of these, so if we, from number, because the first 2 were in the 80s.
Yes.
So I'm assuming this third one and the next year you're going to talk about you've had some personal involvement in.
Yes. I was in the drug task force, and if I could just go back and give just a brief background, I came to work here in 1997. I worked in the detention center for around 6 months. I was pre-service. I put myself through mandate school, so I paid my way through that. So
shows you how dedicated he is.
Well, yes, I really wanted to do this job since grade school. Some career paths were presented to me at a young age, and I thought, I'd really like to do this. And I really wanted to be a deputy sheriff for most of my young life. And so when the opportunity arose, I chose to test and pay the fees and put myself through school. And fortunate for me, Paulding County hired me in the 7th of the 11 weeks of mandate school. So I was very appreciative of that at the time. But as Bob Seeger would say, I didn't know a lot back then, and I had more to learn, and time is the key to that, and experience. So I did work the Uniform Patrol Division from 1998 to 2001, and some openings came up in the Drug Task Force, and I applied for those. One of those openings, and I was selected. So it's probably the biggest career booster for my career, because I was sent over there a dumb knucklehead kid that didn't know anything, and I had the guidance from some GBI agents and some senior drug task force agents that essentially grabbed me by my ear and said, "This is how you're gonna properly document things, and you're gonna log evidence, and you're gonna write search warrants at the GBI standard." And it changed my life. It made me the investigator that I am today. There are 2 majors here at the sheriff's office, Major Rich and Major Davis. They were senior drug task force agents, and they were hands-on with training me. They taught me early on about the required standards to be an agent there in the task force, and what was expected and how to meet those expectations. So I'm eternally grateful for that, because those GBI agents and those senior agents who are now upper echelon command staff, they helped make me the investigator that I am today. So I thought I was young when I wasn't, and I went back to night shift patrol for a short amount of time, and I had young children at the time, and just realized that although I'm dedicated to the sheriff's office, I'm an investigator at heart. So I transferred into the criminal investigations division, and I spent 15 years to the door in there until our new Sheriff Hanson, came in, and he made some restructures within the agency, and I was selected to be the number 2 person, if you will, for the Administrative Services Division. So that's where I'm at today, but also
You moonlight in a lot of places in the building. I can confirm that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I also now I aid with the pre-employment polygraphs or any other polygraph needs for the agency, and I also have aided with the starting up the new cold case unit.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to 2005 when this homicide occurred. I was a drug task force agent at that time. I remember getting the phone call that night. It was in October of 2005, and I was called by Captain Davis at the time. He's now Major Davis in the Criminal Investigations Division, and he explained to me that this had occurred in the New Hope area of Dallas, Georgia, New Hope area of Paulding County, and that he was asking if we had any intelligence in the way of drug task force intelligence of anybody that we felt could have possibly been involved with this homicide. So we did come in and assist, not that night, but in the days to come, we did come in and assist the GBI and the detectives working that case. So we were able to obtain some intelligence through the drug task force. We immediately funneled all that information to the GBI and the agents or the detectives working that case. And so we stayed semi-involved with the case throughout, and in time, the case remained active, and some of the evidence from the case was recovered later on, and I can't get too deep into that because the case is still active, but it brought about some new vigor into the case, if you will. And so at that time, I had transferred back to the Uniform Patrol Division as a sergeant, but it really kind of lent credence to some of the intelligence that we had gathered early on. So I felt like some of the leads were very strong that we attained early on, and unfortunately, the case has remained open until the present time. But my prayer is that this new cold case unit and the analysts that we brought in to analyze the case can just breathe new life into the case, that they can turn some stones over that we haven't turned.
So that was number 3. Let's go into number 4.
Okay. Number 4, we 2013, we had a young lady who was initially believed to be in the Canton area of Cherokee County. She had been reported missing. We did not know her identity at the time, but our deputies responded to human remains who were found by hunters. And so they determined that this was, in fact, a human body that had been partially buried in a wet weather stream. And so the GBI came in with us on that, and we did make confirmation through the lab that this was, in fact, that missing person who was initially reported missing out of Cherokee County, but after the fact it was learned that she was last reported to be in Bartow. So not a lot of distance there between where she was believed to be missing from and where she was found in this area that was being developed for a neighborhood. And so that is one of the cases that has also been assigned to one of the new cold case analysts. So the case is being looked at. Our hope is that we can just put some more pieces together of that puzzle.
And number 5.
Number 5, yes, we had a young man, pretty sure that's going to be 2014, who was found in his bed by some family members, deceased from apparent gunshot wounds. And so we are programmed, we're hardwired as homicide detectives to, when we're called to a scene and we learn that it's not natural, that we believe that foul play is afoot, we're programmed to go into that victim's inner circle. We're programmed to get every detail about victimology that we can. We want to know their habits, their contacts, who they're speaking with on a daily basis, who they're engaged with, what their activities are. We want to know everything that we can possibly know about that particular victim so that we know what steps or what direction to go in. So victimology is key when you are looking at one of these homicides. You want to know all you can about this person. We did learn a lot about this young man. We determined that there were some habits, some elements of a high risk lifestyle, and so unfortunately, the leads have not led to an arrest at this point. Our hope is that our new detective that is looking at the case can breathe new life into that case.
And I think that most people that are going to watch this, especially that are from here, they know about these cases to some extent. But obviously, what people are going to expect, and the elephant in the room, is the case involving Heather Turner.
Yes.
I think it's important for the audience to note that none of us can speak on previous administrations before our time.
True.
And nothing that I'm going to say is to discredit or any previous administrations. But for those who don't understand, a new administration came into the sheriff's office in January. So that is a full change from top to bottom, essentially an overnight change. So what happened in the years past, all that stuff still happened, but we're essentially starting from fresh and we're starting over. So I think as you briefly talk about that, every single one of these cases are of the utmost importance. They're all being worked on, and we have a dedicated unit that's specific to those. And just because people may not hear us speaking about them publicly or directly, that doesn't mean that work is not getting done behind the scenes. And if you think for 1 second that we're not, you're mistaken, because that's the business that we're in, solving crime and holding people accountable that commit those crimes. So,
Jordan, I couldn't have said it better. All of that is correct. I did have some early involvement in that case, and without going into too much detail, I don't want to compromise the integrity of the case. The case is still active today. But what I can say is that I did have early involvement in that case, and Lieutenant Christopher, he has passed on now, but he was the initial case detective on that. He did have the case initially. He retired at the end of 2017, and at his retirement, I did receive the case. It was assigned. That's a standard protocol with any detective's final file review. When they're leaving the agency, or if they're transferring to another division, there's going to be a final file review, and your active cases are going to be reassigned. So that's just common practice, standard practice. So I did receive the case. We did early on request the GBI to assist us with that case, and so the GBI and myself, ever since the end of 2017, have continued to work the case. And that's all common knowledge that I can share with everyone,
right,
is that we are still working the case. I know there's been many questions. There's been this mystique about the case, and I would want every listener to know that I get that. I understand. You want to know what's in the cookie jar, but you can't see.
Right.
And I don't blame the public for that perception. But what I can say is that because it is an active case, it's had its reasons for remaining active, and we have protocol, we have standards that we operate by, and those standards and protocols have caused the case to remain active,
right,
and that's where we're at. Sheriff Henson has expressed that he has the desire to see a resolution in the case, and I can certainly agree with him on that, and we hope to do that very soon. But as of today's date, the case is active, but we do want the public to know that the case is actively being worked.
And I also think it's important for the public to know, again, just because they're not seeing or they're not hearing it, that doesn't mean that it's not going on. So when you see something that's completely off topic, and then you say something about a different incident or a different case, there's this unit that we're talking about specifically today is for cold case. We have a number of units in the sheriff's office, from you talking to me, public affairs, to gang, to juvenile, all of those. It's like any other company. Everybody has their own assigned thing to do, and everybody is doing their part and playing their part and making sure that these cases, get solved. Out of the 5 that you just talked about, I think it's important to note, because I think if you go to several other places across the country, 5's a pretty low number.
Jordan, that's exactly right. That's a very low number, and I'm very appreciative of how we have kept that number low. Some of our nearby partners in neighboring jurisdictions, they have a much higher number. So I am very thankful for the efforts of our sheriff's office, our other partners such as Dallas, Hiram, Braswell, for keeping the county safe and deterring crime, because 5 is a very low number.
Sure. I think that number being 5, but I think that we also need to kind of paint a picture as we wrap this up of how unique your job is. We've talked about it before that, when the average person goes to work, they go to work and they leave and go home, and that's the end of their day. I mean, we've had multiple conversations in the time we've known each other. What is it about, not any specific or any of the ones that you talked about, but specific things that stand out in cases that keep you up at night? To the person watching this is going to be the equivalent in some aspect of them watching a TV show about crime or murder or listen to a podcast. And the thing, when you leave a crime scene, that's not going out of your head.
No, it's not, Jordan. And I just want to start off with how I was taught this the first day of homicide school. If you read Genesis chapter 4, that describes the work of a homicide investigator.
The Lord's work.
When Cain kills Abel, and God says, "Who has done this?" That describes and entails the role of a homicide investigator. And so, as you said, our detectives at the sheriff's office, they take these cases home with them. We're all guilty at times of shedding tears over these cases. You will become attached and involved in a part of each case that you work, because when you are whether you're in the first 48 hours of this homicide or you've been in it for years, you think that this is a person's loved one. This is their father, their son, their mother, their daughter, sister, brother, whatever the case may be. This is a person's loved one that has been killed by the hands of another. And I'm honored to be a part of that. I guess that's the best way I could say that. But, I just think off the cuff, I can remember reviewing these cases, and anything that I might be able to possibly do or our team could do, whether it be brushing my teeth, getting ready to come in the mornings, or I've been out all night and heading home after being on a scene. You're just thinking about, what can I do to help this family with a resolution, because we're just a vessel. We're doing the Lord's work here.
I mean, the average person doesn't wake up on Christmas morning with their kids opening gifts and thinking about a case that involves somebody not having somebody in their family there to do that.
That's exactly right. And I get periodic updates from one of the families from the 2005 homicide. And as a father of 3 daughters who have all, grew up to be a success in their own right, and I'm very proud of them. But you also consider on something like Father's Day, I think about this young lady that had to grow up and ultimately walk down the aisle to marry the love of her life without her dad being there to walk her down the aisle. And, I don't want to get too choked up here, but that is something that you just live it. And at times you hate to live it, because I'm thinking, please, Lord, give me the ability to find some type of resolution here. And when you can, it's very frustrating. But to say that you're doing everything that you can for a family is it's an honor to be a part of that.
And would you say that's probably the biggest thing? Because a guy that's worked here for as long as you have and has wore many hats, you could do any job at the sheriff's office.
Well, I wouldn't say that,
but is that what keeps you coming back?
Yes, this is my role. I'm even though I've been blessed, the Lord has blessed me with rank, and I'm thankful for that. And I really appreciate that. I'm an investigator at heart, and sometimes it shows when it's time to do interviews and things like that. But we just have to have faith in the Lord to give us the strength and the wisdom to perform every day and do what we need to do to try to seek a resolution for these families, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
And I think one of the things that we've tried to do just as a whole as a sheriff's office in the 8 or 9 months that it's been is hopefully when people watch this or they listen to it, they think about the conversation that you and I just had, more of you, But what also can get in the way is outside chatter. And hopefully people today have gotten a little glimpse of what investigating homicides and being an investigator entails. Obviously, it's been a very short 1 or 2 pages about what it entails, but we know, because we work here, that our people, if you go to the second floor of the sheriff's office and walk all the way down to the end of the hallway, those are the best people investigating some of the most heinous things that can happen to humans. And it takes time to figure out what happened. Sometimes it takes a lot longer than we want it to, but they can rest assured that the work's getting. If anybody meets you in public, they'll know that that little Mikey's not going to leave any stone unturned.
We certainly hope to have the strength and wisdom to do that every day. I do have to brag on our sheriff's office. Our team is strong, whether it be the juvenile investigations division, the criminal investigations division, or if it's our narcotics agents in the Northwest Georgia Drug Task Force. A very talented group of individuals, of whom which I'm thankful to be a part of, and I especially have to brag on our new cold case team. These guys are
so sharp.
They're ultra sharp, and they have strong backgrounds. They have the ability and the wisdom to perform in their capacity. So I'm just thankful to have them.
And as we close, if anybody has any information about any of these cases that we talked about, what is a good way for them to leave a tip or reach out to a detective? Obviously, I know our free mobile app, you can leave an anonymous tip there. Just call the main line and ask for somebody in our criminal investigations division. Or?
That's right. And we are big partners. We're big supporters of Crime Stoppers, and they support us. So that is a two-way street for us to get information to. If someone's out there and they don't wish to be identified or make their identity known, they can call 1-800-CRIME-STOPPERS and provide this information. Crime Stoppers is just an amazing way for us to get tips.
And even if you don't think it's that important, if it's very minute, let us know. It could be the make or break.
That's a great thought, Jordan. That's exactly right. The smallest information that you may have, we still want to hear it, because the smallest information can be the key to cracking one of these cases, and we need that.
Well, the work you do is incredible. I thank you as a friend and as a coworker for what you do every single day. So thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me today. Appreciate you.
Good.